Good morning. Welcome, Unity Northwest Church in Des Plaines, Illinois. It's so great to see you this morning. I'm Reverend Elizabeth Mora. I'm the senior minister and grateful as heck, as always, to be online with you and to see everybody popping up here in the chat. Good morning to everyone, and so grateful that you took time out of your day to be here, whether you are watching us live right now on a Sunday or whether you're watching this in replay. We are so grateful that you're here. You make up this community, and we feel that energy of everybody that's come before and everybody that's watching after, as well as everybody right here. Happy Sunday morning to you, and welcome to the place that you come to remember the truth of who you are, that you are fabulous, beautiful, magnificent. Choose your word. Know that for yourself. This is your weekly reminder that whatever came up this week that was joyful, we're celebrating it. Whatever the challenges were, we have moved through them. We can be here now and we can lift them up into the light and come back and remember the truth. And you are the church for us. Again, wherever it is you are and whenever it is you are part of Unity Northwest Church. You make a difference, and we're so glad. And every now and then, my speaker likes to talk to me and tell me what it's attached to, even though I already know that. So thank you to the magic of a Bluetooth speaker that occasionally likes to chat. Cracks me up. I like all the reactions coming in. Thank you. You know, it wouldn't be a Sunday without a little something funky happening, right? And now let's open in prayer. As we gently settle in, perhaps closing our eyes, we turn our attention to what is divine. Some of us call that God, some spirit, some energy, or the great mystery of what it is that is beyond us, that stands under everything that we're aware of. We turn now to that healing energy, to that presence that is greater than a human life. We stand in awe. And we rise up into knowing a connection with more than ourselves, a deep connection with what came before us, that brought us forth, and that we will step back into someday. We're mindful of that deep connection and of our connection to each other. We are here in an awareness and a space and a reality of oneness. Take a moment and feel that. I feel the connection with all of you that I've met and seen and look forward to hugging, and all of those who I hope to do that with in the future, and even those of you who I may never meet in person, even those not on with us this morning. We are connected to everyone, everything. And in oneness, we bring forth our love for each other, for humanity, and for ourselves. This is our reminder time, where we build this muscle of being in one presence. And so it is. Amen. And we like to give a special welcome to those of you who are joining us for the first time. If you are with us and you would like more information about the church, or even if you've come a few times and you still got questions, or if you've been coming for a long time and you just want to check in with us, anybody can use the Unity Northwest Church email that is here for you, but especially those who are new, this is a way for you to get more information. You can also, of course, go to our webpage And we want to extend out a special welcome to anybody joining for the first time. Again, most of the time that happens on a YouTube replay. So at any time, if you're watching this, you can just shoot an email to Betsy, our assistant, and we will be happy to send you a little more information about what's going on at the church and answer any questions, support you in any way that we can. And again, not just for the new folks. This is the email address that you can, there, I'm going to get it right. There you go. You can go to this email address and ask any questions. Again, check in with us. Let us know how you're doing. Anything will work there. And as we go through here on Facebook, continue to say hi in the comments box. I love this. This is how we keep connected. And throughout this, since you are home, you could do whatever you'd like. I encourage you to sing along when you hear a song, stand up, get moving. I have an Apple Watch that reminds me, you've been sitting too long, get up and do some moving, and use this as a virtual way to connect in all the ways that you can. And in a moment, we will check in with everybody who is here. And as we get ready to do that, again, go ahead and in the comment section, let us know your name. Wow, okay, so my computer's doing all sorts of fun stuff today. Interesting. And so I'm going to invite you to, give me just a second here to reset computer-wise. Didn't touch a button, but it acted like I did. Here we go. And we are. Good news is I'm so used to doing this, I can do it without too much time. The daily word for today. Sunday, September 20th, smile. I know most of you are, but go ahead and get a big old smile going. As you're sitting there, smile. I share the joy and love of God when I smile. Exercise those muscles. Even if a language barrier prevents me from understanding another's words, I know that most people will respond to a friendly smile. My smile can convey goodwill, communicate delight from an unexpected blessing, or inspire awe at the sight of a star-filled night sky. A child not yet able to talk, shares love and joy quite differently with a sunny smile. I feel happy when others smile at me. This friendly, welcoming gesture reminds me that we are all one in spirit. Smiling at my reflection in a mirror, I see the light that shines from me. I feel a quickened awareness of the divine love and joy that are present everywhere as I realize how simply and beautifully my smile can express that love and joy without the need for words. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. Numbers 6:25. Couldn't help but think about the fact that we can't see a lot of smiling faces today because of our masks. So, hey, here's me smiling. Remember this? This is what it looks like. I love the masks that have the smile built in. I even saw a mask that had plastic, vinyl or something here that you could see the smile there. Smiles and blessings to all of you. And I noticed that I try really hard when I have my mask on to really let my eyes show. That was not a good example of that, but really let my eyes, because there's this smile and then there's this smile that lightens up the eyes. So we're called to do that today too. And as everyone has had a time to check in there, let's go ahead and say good morning to some folks. Let everybody know who's here with us. And we've got Chris, Jeanette, Hal, Kat, Mary, Karen, Mickey. Love the photo every week. It makes me giggle. Bobby and Mark, Carolyn, Chris, Karen, Mark and Jean, the Bostons, Ruth and Dallas. Thanks again, Dallas, for helping me out of a little pickle there yesterday. Arturo, Isabella, Tatiana, who recorded music that I wasn't able to get to work yet, but it's coming next week. I'm going to dedicate this week to technology. Good morning, Anne. Andrew, thank you for recording. And I'm sorry I didn't get it up yet. I had a little problem with my downloader. So it's on my end. I will be fixing that. And so we have some wonderful music for you next week, I promise. Computer is slow. Oh, are folks, is it low and slow today? I don't know if it would make a difference if I pulled out a chord. Number 625, yes, Anne. She's getting her balcony ready for the birthday boy. 90, that's right. So Anne's dad is turning 90, everyone. Whew, we give you a shout out, Dad. Good morning. Tell him that your church said big virtual hugs and good morning for him. Hi, Brenda, on this gorgeous day. Don slept in, excellent. And now it's a beautiful day. Plastic on a face mask, especially if you have someone that's hearing impaired. Absolutely. Thanks, Anne. And hi, Robin, Lori, Gary, probably Mary in the background, and Dana, who works with our kids. What a great collection we already have today. It's wonderful to have you all on. And Brenda says her computer is fine. Okay. All right. So keep checking in. If we notice that there's too much going on, I might see what I might be able to do. And happy birthday. I think a lot of happy birthdays are going to come in, and happy birthday and technology checks. Wow. Thank you. Such an important thing, I think, to do this besides, replaying your romper room memories. I see Ruth and I see Chris. It's important that this is the way that we are able to check in right now, in addition to being on Zoom later. Thank you so much for doing that. Again, makes such a difference. And the people that are watching, for the first time and checking us out, get to see that how much we know each other, like each other, some of the jokes that come in, that this is really a great place to be. And now, knowing that we're all here, present and accounted for, let's go ahead into our sacred time of meditation. I invite you, as always, to sit back, relax, but not so much that we go to sleep. Sit back, straighten the spine, and let's get ready once again to turn within some of the most important minutes of our week when we come together to meditate, to take time in silence with others. An important practice for us individually, and then heightened and lifted up and strengthened and deepened by doing it together consciously with others. So we can picture our church sanctuary with all of us there, or a room with all of us sitting, all of us together. I now turn within, with the spine straight, the head balanced and centered. I may move it just a little to release some tension, so much in the neck. Let that go. Letting go of conscious thoughts of things to do, conversations that we've had or will have. It takes time for the mind usually to say, oh, I can turn off now. I don't need to be so active. I can fade into the background and receive. Be. The work is done for now. The thoughts drift away. And the fuller, completer picture of myself comes forward. There I am. Without words and details. A being present. And I use this breath that comes and goes to keep me centered in that moment, to assist me in not going back to thoughts but to allowing realizations, experience the moment instead of thinking and wondering, meeting it right here with silence, with the breath. I am home. I am home. I am free. I am filled. I am grateful. I am grateful for the time, and I'm also grateful for every person on this phone with us today, on this computer with us today. I am so grateful to be in community as I meditate, a blessing that not everyone has at this moment. And so I don't take it for granted that I have come together, and I am so grateful. Amen. A number of years ago, Arturo and I went on vacation, and we went to one of these live, it wasn't a nativity, but it was a spiritual telling of stories from the Bible about the story of Jesus. And if you can picture this thing, it's like a mini village. You can see a little bit from this photo how big it is. And in the back of the setting there, at the end, after Jesus was crucified, he went up on a wire and disappeared into the darkness. It was incredible, I have to tell you. One of these big, huge, live, outdoor Bible stories. There was so much going on. If you could take a look, as much as you can see there, that's about where we sat and what you would see. There were all sorts of animals coming. There was a village of people. Dogs ran through, children laughing. It was like a little village right in front of you. And afterwards, Arturo and I were talking about it and how amazing it was. And he said, I know, I can't believe all of the things that were on there. They even had a camel. And I'm like, they had a camel? He said, yeah, you gotta be kidding me. You didn't see the camel walk across the stage? No, I didn't see any camel. I would have told you that he had made the whole thing up, but he insisted there was a camel. And sure enough, I went and I looked online at the picture, and there is the camel. An huge, entire camel walked across the stage, and I never even saw it. How many things in life are like that we didn't even see it? Something so huge right in front of us, we can miss it. And this is where we're talking about how our mind works. this experiment and this understanding of making our teachings come alive by looking at what we're actually experiencing and how it relates to what's going on with feeling and thinking nature inside of us. If I'm not looking for a camel, I may not see a camel. For some reason, Arturo was camel wired and he saw the camel. So it's one of our biggest jokes, when you each see something different, as, couples often do, right? Your version, my version is, you didn't see the camel? Nope, didn't see the camel. Yeah. That's my fun camel story that it comes up quite often as a reminder to me of how funny this all is. Because it reminds me of these key teachings that there's an infinite field of potential. We call that the FP in this series that we're doing right now, the field of potential. And we only see a tiny fraction of it. There was so much going on that stage that I missed it. Imagine what I'm missing in a real village. And we can change what we see and change our life. I have no doubt if I go back to see that play, I will see the camel the next time because I'm going to be looking for it. I'll, probably miss the elephant this time, but I'm going to see that darn camel because I'm looking for it. And we know that our thoughts change our lives. It's not as simple as that. There's more to it, but in a basic, simple sense, it changes our lives. And we talk about this basically every Sunday. And I know that some of us sometimes think, really? I just don't know about that. I've tried this, I've tried that. I didn't get that, I didn't get this. So we're on a journey to experiment. And we're using this book by Pam Grout called E Squared. It's 9 experiments in spiritual living. It's living the 5th principle. It's taking our principles of how our thoughts and our prayers work and proving it to ourselves in the physical world. Yay. And it's helping us get these teachings that we mentioned last week. So let's review because we're on week 2. It's helpful to remember where we're at here, that this is about a little book that's going to prove to you what you have. It's going to prove to you that there are infinite possibilities. And that you can use this book to change how you see yourself by conducting experiments so that you can become joyful, wondrous, tender, everything you possibly can be. This book is an aid for you to experiment and to use your thoughts. And I'm going to share this every week because it's so important to think a little bit about the numbers. That we receive 400 billion bits of information a second. And really take that in, how astounding that is. I don't even know how they figure that out. 400 billion, billion. Millions would have been enough per second. Think about how much you've already experienced since we just started. What we choose to take in is 1/2 of 1 millionth of a percentage. Again, astounding. So we have a drastically condensed version of our world that our brains are literally sorting out and telling us. So we don't even realize how much we are taking in, how much possibility there is, because we are so conditioned, and this is the brain, is the way the brain's designed, to keep going back to known paths that are safe. Or at least known, because the unknown is scarier, especially to the brain when it's trying to protect us. And this is the image that I came up with to share that has helped me over the years get this even more. This is about all my brain is letting me know. This is about what I am seeing, processing consciously. But really, if I could see the bigger picture and experiencing it, this is all that I could be exposed to. Imagine how much time it would take me to go through all of those balloons and now multiply that isn't even the beginning of it. There is a room full of tiny, tiny dots And not even that, you'd have to multiply it again and again and again to get at the concept of 400 billion pieces of info a second. So all day long, this is what we've got. Picture infinite tiny little pencil points, a period, the size of a period even, that you are immersed in. And that's what we pull from, basically based on our history. And then a scientist named Colin Turnbull in 1951 discovered something really interesting about how this brain is working. Colin was studying in the Congo with pygmies, and he had an assistant named Kenji that he was working with, and Kenji's world was expanding a little bit because of Colin. And so Colin was about to go on a trip to some mountains that were rarely seen because of cloud cover. And so as he and his assistant moved out of the forest, and for the first time, the mountains would be visible to him, Kenji said, "What is that tiny hill over there?" He didn't see a big mountain in the distance. All his brain knew was a tiny hill. And it was only until they got closer and closer and drove to it that he could see that what was tiny was huge. And it was the first time that he learned really about perspective. That if you look off in the distance and your brain is not used to seeing that far off because you live in a forest that is this dense, you don't have the same levels of perspective. And then later on, when there was snow at the top, he couldn't understand how far away that was. And it was this great understanding that Colin came to about perspective. And they've done experiments with cats that are only shown, vertical lines, and then they're not able to see horizontally. So think about that for what it's like in your brain, that we are like his assistant pictured here. Someone who hasn't been able to see and cannot see it yet. And that's why we're opening and expanding our minds. And on the science side, for those of you who are geeks with this like me and you want to know, it's called, one of the pieces of the brain that's important here is the reticular activating system, kind of like the amygdala and all of these things that we're learning about. The RAS is what keeps us from going crazy by taking 400 billion bits and focusing on the ones we need and putting the other ones to the side and filtering things for us. And thank God, because really we would go insane. But some of the stuff that we could use gets filtered out or labeled as bad. So this is a labeling, organizing, sorting, filtering system for us. And now we're aware of it more and more. Oh, what we're learning about the brain is so impactful. So back in 1951, there was a famous football game, Princeton versus Dartmouth. And it was one of the most violent football games that was ever played. And of course, back in the day, there were not the helmets that we use today. There was not the understanding, and there were different rules that we were playing with. And so this brutal game left the quarterback of one team with a broken leg, the other one so injured that he had to be carried off the field. It was bloody, and it was famous to this day. And then there was an experiment where they talked to the Princeton students and the Dartmouth students and all of the visitors that day, and they studied them and asked them for their reactions about what happened. And what they discovered was that the images and the reality all over the place. So when they asked them if this was a fair game, the Dartmouth students thought it was less fair than the Princeton students did. When they asked them if it was a dirty game, both sides agreed that it was a dirty, rough game, or a rough game. But more of the Dartmouth students believed that it was a dirty game. And so to hear the story told, it would depend on who you talk to. And I know that we all know this to some degree, right? That we are rooting for our team. And of course, they're the team that's always great. And the other guys, I used to hate the Detroit Pistons back when the Bulls were hot, those were the bad guys. And now I look back and, watching some of the analysis of it, they were also really good at what they did. And so the scientists that studied this game, it was a very important one. And this game actually helped some of the rules change to make it a little safer to play football. And what they discovered was that the perceptions that you came in with and that you grew up with and that you were programmed with led you to see a different game. You missed some of the things that were unfair that your team did. You just couldn't even see them. I couldn't see when Michael Jordan wasn't being such a good player either, when he was being a little dirty. Now, I thought it was, always Dennis Rodman and I forget the other guy, Isaiah Thomas. Yeah. So even watching the Bulls special recently was a reminder to me about how the brain works. So here's our experiment time. We've decided, okay, let's do like the Princeton and the Dartmouth study. We decided last week that we're going to test this theory then, that there is an invisible field. We're going to start with the fact that there is an invisible field of energy, what we also call God, that there is a field of infinite possibilities. And you all filled out a little card like this. And now I want you to tell me your stories. And I see, thank you, Jean and Anne have already given me a story. In the next minute here, if all of you who did this experiment would type into the box here, did you get an unexpected blessing? Did you not get an unexpected blessing? And if you did and you'd share it with us, that would be great. But even if you just let us know, I did it and something happened. I don't want to share it, but I want to. So here's what happened. So Jean did have an unexpected blessing within 48 hours. She wanted to have the top half of the driveway blacktopped. No way. A guy came to my door asking if I wanted to blacktop the driveway. There you go. Let's just take that one. Isn't that amazing? She put on a card that I want an unexpected blessing. She had this in her mind and someone showed up at the door. Jean, I love that. I'm saving that. I'm going to use that the next time I do this sermon. That's great. Talk about a direct 1, 2, 1. Okay, constantly getting some freezing and buffering. I'm going to take just a minute. I did not plug in today. So while you read about what Ann did, I'm going to plug in my Ethernet cord. All right, there we go, gang. My apologies for the little break there. We are plugged in, hardwired now. It worked for Ann as well. I have to go, so I'll share quickly. Got a text from Comcast Infinity. They'll be wiping my bill because I have a defective cable TV box. They were charging me $70 a month for several months for not the service I paid for. All right, so we have a financial blessing. Imagine that, getting something back from the cable company. That's great. And then Isabel, Christopher said, it's her son Christopher, my guitar string was broken and the teacher at school offered to fix it, but couldn't, and instead handed me a nicer, bigger guitar to use for the school year. That's fantastic. Elena says, yay, Christopher, great, Christopher. Already some wonderful. So continue to put those in there and let us know what happened for you. These are exciting. I find that truly amazing things happen. It's just, are we looking for them? It's a camel. Blessings are camels. They're everywhere. Are we seeing it? And think about for a moment, did you do this experiment? What happened? Did you get one? Didn't you? And Why do you think that is? Were you surprised? I was. Wait till I tell you what happened to me. And do you think there's a field of potentiality? These are important questions for us to really take in. Do we sometimes say, I know I do at times, I say this because I do believe it, but sometimes it becomes automatic. And then I have these little doubts I'm not aware of until I do an experiment like these and go, oh my gosh, that's right. Like this book is one I need to pull out every year at least to remind myself of how much fun there is to have playing with the field. And here's what mine looked like. I started off by writing it down, and the next day, Anita happened to send me a funny little email about, or a message on Facebook about what it's like to be a minister. It was really kind of clever and funny. And it got me down one of those Facebook rabbit holes. So I clicked on the cartoon that she sent, and it came from this man named Bob Gross. And I'm like, oh, he's kind of cool. He's posting lots of cool things. So I friended him. Now I have someone cool to follow. That was a blessing enough. But then I went to the post that this man had posted. I went to the place it came from and discovered he got it from something called Don't Forget to Breathe. If you're looking for something inspiring on Facebook, click on this site and click like and see what you get from them. They're worth it. So I went to Don't Forget to Breathe, and I found hilarious things like this. You know, I don't run from my problems. I sit on my couch, play on my phone, and ignore them like everybody else. Yes, this is me someday. So it made me laugh. It was light and fun, and I loved this site. But that wasn't it. Then I happened to scroll down even farther, and I read this post about you're not everyone's cup of tea. You know, so my admission to you is I am a people pleaser. I want everyone to love me. And remembering that I'm not everyone's cup of tea, life's work. So it starts with a funny post from Anita. And now I'm looking at something that actually makes me kind of think about myself. And I happen to be talking with an old friend of mine, and somehow it came up, you know, someone that, once I thought I had this friend, and I thought we were cool, and I found out she was saying things about me. And it kind of reminded me of that and brought up this issue. So throughout this week, I was, dealing with that again. Just, not everybody loves you, and I try really hard. And I was talking with a friend about it, then working through it. It became a good thing for me to work through. And I said, I'm like Sally Field. I always think about that Oscar acceptance speech where she said something to the effect, if you like me, you really like me. Like, I'm like Sally Field. Like, that is the truth. I want to say that it doesn't get me, but that's my truth. And maybe that's enough. It's just to be honest with that. And then I continued reading E Squared. I finished the book this week, and here was this quote in a later chapter. One of the later experiments we do will prove what Sally Field finally figured out. I had spoken her name at about 11 o'clock in this quote, and at 4 o'clock, I was reading it in the book. Talk about validation, and it was a spiritual breakthrough for me. And if I had just started with that, I would miss telling you about the best blessing of our week, which is our new kitty. We don't know if he's going to be called Tux or Mr. Whiskers or just what, but I didn't think we were going to adopt a cat this week, and it just started rolling, and there it was. So something simple. I wrote down Anita's blessing to start with. That was my blessing for the week. Thanks, Anita. And then if I hadn't been writing these things down, I would have missed it. And by Friday, I had forgotten about all of this. Those were huge blessings, and I would have forgotten them instantly if I hadn't been writing them down. So that's why we do this. And if you haven't done it, please do it this week. So Chris didn't sign up, but our department at work had a meeting about our situation and our status. Now got changed to telecommuters. Oh, listen to this. It was like a dream come true to be now working from home permanently. Less driving, more time with the husband and the cat, and working out. Blessings. Now, nothing happened with Jeanette. And sometimes that does happen. And so try it again. You know, nothing works all of the time. There's other things, and maybe there were blessings we didn't see. Maybe the energy was different. So try again. Look this week to see if a camel might be there that we're missing, and let's check in again. Rob had a challenging week. Oh, internet out. Oven out till October 5th. Now the grill. Scammed on his credit card, 6 hours. Kitty needs a biopsy. Not what I expecting. Trying all week to find a blessing. Rob. My heart goes out. That is one rough week. And in those times, comfort is what's most important. So let's send Rob some comfort. That was a lot in 1 week. Rob, our hearts go out to you. We see solutions coming to the appliances not working. Blessings for the kitty. Your community is here for you. Reach out. Let us know what else we can do. Blessings to you. And this might be a time you choose to do the exercise again, or you say, you know what, I'm going to set this aside right now. Just take care of me and my life. And that's okay too. That's okay too. Jeanette, so many negatives. Our blessing is that others know that others care and have so many challenges, that we care when you're going through it. So here we are. This is the blessings that we're here for. And Sheila did just receive it less than 50 minutes ago. My client called and is keeping me on the payroll. Grateful, Sheila. I'm grateful for the stories. Thanks. Keep them coming. Please keep them coming and let us know. And Rob, thank you. It's actually Lori. We'll try again. Oh, Lori. Okay, so Lori had the rough week. Lori and Rob are on together. Blessings to you. And so this week you can continue on with this experiment, and we have another opportunity. You impact the field and draw from it according to your beliefs and expectations. What shows up is a direct reflection of our inner thoughts and emotions. Without being conscious, we spend most of our time being negative. Again, that's the way that our brain is wired to keep us safe. So we know that. And 1% of effort from us can make a difference in what we're experiencing. It's not always simple. It's not always easy. It doesn't always come when we think it will, but over time, the universe bends our way. And the more input we put, the more it bends. One of my favorites, Charles Roth, the nature of our thoughts determines the nature of the conditions or environment in our life. Classic unity. More classic unity. The greatest discovery of the age is that we determine our experiences by controlling our thoughts. Again, more of what we know. And this is what it looks like from the quantum perspective, that the field is waving and then it collapses into a particle. So the field is like the stage of the play that I saw, and the camel is when it collapses. What are we catching hold of? What if the 400 billion balloons in the room have we basically managed to see, and what else could there be? This week, what you get to do if you're doing experiment 2 is to get out a piece of paper. You are going to be looking for green cars. You're looking for camels this week, in other words. The last time I did this, the first thing I saw when I got in the car and I drove was a green car. You may not be going out right now, so this may be really interesting. Will I see that green car? I'm not even driving. There's lots of ways to see things. Green cars. Let's just see if we focus our attention on green cars, what we see. And if you'd like to do a bonus, you could do yellow butterflies, or you could pick anything you'd like. You could say, I'm going to look for beige cars or this kind of car. Let's pick an item and see how much we see this week. Nothing right or wrong. Let's just see. So here's what we write down, folks. Let's each get out our piece of paper. This is my experiment number 2. I'm going to start tomorrow at 2:21 and go through the 23 and how many green cars do I write down? I expect to see green cars. And then how many yellow butterflies 2 days after that? All right? So that's what I'm doing. I'm writing it down because it made a difference. And if I hadn't written down what Anita did for me, I wouldn't have been able to tell you that whole story and that chain of how that happened and how it started with a simple thing. And I'm going to skip this next part here. So that is what we're doing, because faith is seeing in advance what you believe. Skepticism is not believing until you see. Are you a person of faith or a skeptic? Either way, you get to do the experiment and help yourself live into what Pam is teaching us, that our minds are devoted to what we don't want. And we need to work to get more of those positive intentions. And we're taught to keep looking for those issues. And that's not normal. It's really actually insane. One last quick funny story about this. My skeptic came up about the green cars, especially because we're in COVID. And I thought, how is anybody going to be able to really do any of this if they're not getting out right now and we're not seeing things? It was sitting on my deck right over there. And I was like, yeah. And I'm like, it would be like me sitting here thinking in an area, in a green space, all I see around me is trees and grass and it's beautiful. Like I'm going to see something pink. And I looked up and my flowers were pink. I have a goose outfit that has pink in it. I saw off in the distance a pinwheel that had a little bit of pink on it. And I had a little pin for Christmas that was pink that I needed to put away. And it was still sitting on my table, not just laying there, but we had stuck it upright, just looking right at me. There was pink right in front of me, within a foot. And I thought there was no pink anywhere. Only green. So I'm excited to see what you find for yourself as this great experimenter. I'm excited to hear what you do when you put your foot in the water.
Connected you. I found you.
And we are reconnected.
Moses had to put his foot in the water.
Yeah, so give me 1 second here. We won't have a smooth transition on this one, but we will get it back. So now the sound tooth is going to connect. Come on.
Battery 5.
Battery
Connected you. I found you.
It is connected. We are connected.
Connected you. MacBook Pro.
Now we're connected.
Moses had to put his foot in the water, foot in the water, foot in the water. Moses had to put his foot in the water before God would part that sea. Moses had to put his foot in the water, foot in the water, foot in the water. Moses had to put his foot in the water before God would part that sea. Moses said, God, I hope you're listening. And in heart I know you are, and I'm sure you wouldn't leave us after bringing us this far. But man, I gotta tell you, Lord, things are looking mighty tense. I got Pharaoh and his boys behind me, and I don't see a hole in this fence. Moses had to put his foot in the water, foot in the water, foot in the water. Moses had to put his foot in the water before God would part that sea. God said, Moses, you're full of greatness, and I've got big plans for you. But for now, I have to tell you, Mo, this is what I want you to do. You gotta raise your staff and tell everyone to get into the swim. 'Cause if you want that sea to part, my boy, you're gonna have to get in. Moses had to put his foot in the water, foot in the water, foot in the water. Moses had to put his foot in the water before God would part that sea. Now many seas to part, and I've got cliffs to climb. And he may not be where I expect him, but he always shows up on time. Moses had to put his foot in the water, foot in the water, foot in the water. Moses had to put his foot in the water before God would part that sea. Moses had to put his foot in the water, foot in the water, foot in the water. Moses had to put his foot in the water before God would part that sea. Moses had to put his foot in the water, foot in the water, foot in the water. Moses had to put his foot in the water before God would part that sea. Before God would part that sea. 'Cause before God would part that sea. Before God would part that sea. Before God would part that sea. In the water. Before God would part that sea. In the water. Before God would part that sea. Before God would part that sea.
Well, I hope you had half as much fun with that song as I did, because that was fun. That's our beloved Megan McDonough. Oh, we miss you. We love you. She is up in Minnesota, living the life, and we can't wait till we see her back someday. Let us now turn to this opportunity that we all have to be in the space of generosity and prosperity. It's an important teaching here in the Unity world, is that of giving and receiving. Being in the flow is a big part of what we learn here. And that as we give, we receive. Let me pull my slides back up here. As we give, we receive. And, I think about this sometimes in just the most simplest of ways, in leaving a tip for somebody, that as I might think to myself, well, maybe the barista doesn't need a tip, they're getting paid more than a waitress does. And then I get this spark of, what's a few bucks? Let me throw a few bucks here. And then that goes on to that person and it goes to the next thing. So what I've done is I've created an unexpected blessing. So in addition to getting unexpected blessings this week, perhaps we might be an unexpected blessing. And we might start here at church by picturing a basket coming by us and saying, yeah, let me be part of this. And so you can do that by clicking up above. There is a link, and Arturo has just put it here right in the feed so that you can click it and donate, or you can go to our webpage anytime. Thank you for all of you who give so generously. Let's be part of being the blessing this week. 3 ways to give. You can go online. As we've just said, you can also create an online check that comes every month so that you don't have to think about it. That's what I do. That's what our truly committed supporters do, is they go online so that it is automatic. And you've said to yourself, this is my priority. You can do it each week, as we've said, by clicking, and you can even send us something in the mail. So let's go ahead and stop talking, speaker. Let's go ahead and read our blessing. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Grateful and thank you. Couple of announcements here. We are going to have a youth service next Sunday at 10:15. So for all of those of you that have kids, that have grandkids, let everybody know that we've got a session going. We're going to do a trial and see where it goes from there. So you can email Carolyn. It's up above in the description here, or email the office that you're interested, and we'll send you the Zoom link. So we are going to give it a shot and see what happens. Next Sunday, instead of fellowship, we're going to have a really important session called Ask the Board. Please, 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 am I begging? Please mark on your calendar to come over to fellowship next week. If you never come over, this is the one to come over for. Instead of fellowship time, we're going to have a presentation from the board. They're going to let us know what's up with finances, COVID update, let you know what our survey results were, and then answer any questions that you have. A really important thing, since we didn't have an annual meeting, we're trying to catch up with everybody. So for those of you who care deeply about the church and want to know, find out what the board's been up to, and please be with us next Sunday right after service. We're going to go right over to fellowship. And check your email box this week. We have an exciting announcement coming out that affects all of us about our identity and where we're going as we move forward. We'll hear more about it at the meeting next week, and to let everybody know about it beforehand so you can formulate your questions, there's a really important email coming. It'll probably be Monday. So in case those emails fly by and you get 50 million a day like I do, please look for an email from the church tomorrow. Really important. Cindy is having a party. We are going to test coming together in a safe, socially distanced way by going to a party for those of you who would like to. It's not church sponsored, but a member is hosting it. So if you would like to start to roll church back, this is an event for you to show up at. That's what it basically means, is we are not sure how many people are really willing to come out. So with masks and socially distanced, Cindy has volunteered to have an experiment and get to see everybody. We saw a few people at the donation day. It was really, really sweet to see people. And we kept our masks on and we kept our distance. So please mark your calendars then for the 26th. That's this coming Saturday. Drop by any time from 1 to 3, but do let Cindy know so that we can send you the address. This Saturday, send your address, bring your own chair, things to eat, and we will have a good time on Saturday for those of you who would like to attend Cindy's party. And remember to check your email. You can donate online, and we're always there on YouTube. Be safe. Wear your masks. See you next week for the rest of the experiments, and see you in a few minutes for Zoom coffee. And remember that our chaplains are now there. So if you would like prayer, Lori, come on over, get a prayer for the week that you've had. If you would like individual one-on-one confidential prayer, we put you in a separate room on the Zoom call, and you can get your prayer support. We are here for you. Our wonderful prayer chaplains serve in that way. And remember, whatever you do, how wonderful you are, folks, that you are fabulous, wonderful, stupendous, magnificent, beautiful. I love all of those words. Oh, we all need way more positive self-talk, myself included. So please take with you, you're wonderful, you're magnificent, you are here. We are grateful for that. And we'll see you over on Zoom and throughout the week. God bless.